in experience on that project. So are you ready for the slide, Mas Ahmad?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we can start now. Enjoy the
Right, thank
webinar,
you.
guys.
Right, thank you for the introduction. Okay, so today's topic is about building a web server with Linux. My name is Achmad Mardiansyah, and this is my email. I'm from GLC Networks. Okay. So the agenda of today's webinar is introduction, and then we talk about the web protocol. So we talk about the foundation first, and then building the web server. Actually, building the web server is not that hard, as long as you understand the building blocks of the web-based application. Okay. And then, yeah, we talk about the, oh, okay, so I forgot one thing here. We'll be talking about the optimization here. Okay. So if you already have a web server and then you want to optimize it, right? And then talking about security and yes, some practice, but I cannot give you a root access. I just want to, I will be doing demo regarding how to build an example of web server. All right, so guys, if you have questions, and then you can type your question here in the group chat. Okay, so thank you everyone for those who already introduced yourself. Thank you very much, really appreciate that. And I got one comment here. Bahasa Indonesia, speaking Indonesian. I'm sorry. I'll be speaking in English, okay? Because many attendees here are not from Indonesia. Many are from overseas. So I'll be speaking in English. Okay, sorry for that. But maybe in the future, we can set up a webinar talking about that topic in Indonesian only, maybe in the future. Okay, no problem. Let's start in English. Great. Thank you, Charles. What is GLC? Kadalistas Cakrawala. We are based in Bandung. Our areas are training in IT consulting. Oh, so I'm talking about the slides again and again. I can speak the slides without thinking. Okay. Yeah, so we are a certified partner for MikroTik, Ubiquiti, Linux. We also have our own product. We also do web development, building a web-based application so that, yeah, this is what we are now. My name is Achmad, and I'm based in Bandung. I'm Linux user since 1999. Doing MikroTik, Cisco, Ubiquiti, doing some programming, PHP, also doing database. Well, when we start the programming, we don't have the things like nowadays programming things, right? So today we have things like a front end, back end, and so on and so forth. But when I start programming, you just only have one title, programmer or developer. That's it. That's all you got. Yeah, so I have LinkedIn here. Okay, if you have LinkedIn, and then I would like to connect with you guys, right? I'm a diver, yes, a diver, but a casual diver, not regular. So yeah, this is my picture when I was doing diving in the Seribu Island, no, in the north of Jakarta, a long time ago. Okay. Yes, this is our experience. We do network support integration in several countries in yeah, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, some in Australia. Yeah. Mostly we do things related to networking. Yeah, together with the integration. So in order to make an integration, usually we also provide with customized software. About the webinar itself, started in 2010, and then you are feel free to host a presentation here if you want to speak something. I mean, just share a topic. We would like to. We will be very happy to allow you to do that. Right. So next for introduction, I can see some people are from Philippines. Okay. And some are from Pakistan. Okay, that's great. And looks like I'm scrolling your name here. So usually there are some people from Europe or from Africa, right? Right. Yeah, I'm from Philippines. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so welcome again to the webinar, our webinar. Thank you. Yeah, most of you are from Indonesia. See, some people are from Congo. Yeah, Congo. Comment ça va? Ça va bien?
Oui, ça va, ça va.
Ça va, right. Thank you. Let's continue then. Uh, Prerequisite. Oh, okay. Well, I think I've changed this one. Yeah. This presentation is for beginner. Okay, so I need to update the webinar, the slides later when I upload into SlideShare. Guys, if you know a better platform to share what is it, a slides, and then please let me know. Usually I upload the slides on SlideShare. Okay, if you have a better platform, just let me know. All right, so let's talk about web. Today we talk about web server. So before we talk about the server, we need to understand what the web is. Started with the protocol. Right, so what is web application? So this is web applications. So if you access web application, this is you, and then this is your laptop. You open a software called browser, you type HTTP, whatever here. And then after that, you press enter, and then what happened? You are making an HTTP request to a web server. And then the web server responds with HTTP response, and then you get what you want here. Okay, so it's a web application. So web application is an application based on the protocol of web. Sometimes we call it web, but in technical term, it means that we are using a protocol called HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. All right, let's continue. You guys remember this one, right? So if for those who are new, so when we do, because web server, a web-based application is it's an application that is based on the network. And then when we talk about network, we always talk about this 7OC layer. So this is 7OC layer, but in the implementation, we are using this model, a TCP/IP model, which consists of network interface layer, network layer, transport layer, and applications. So when we talk about the web application interface, we'll be talking about the protocol on each layer to provide the service. Okay, so started from the lowest layer, sometimes you are accessing through the Ethernet if you are using cable or Wi-Fi. So those are layer 2. Okay, and then on layer 3, you'll be using IP address. And then on layer 4 or transport layer, most likely we are using TCP, but on some implementation like YouTube, they are using UDP. Okay, so but most likely the standard HTTP implementation is based on UTP, I mean TCP. And on applications, we'll be using protocol HTTP. Well, when we talk about transport layer, we talk about the uh, protocol. Yes, correct. It's TCP, but one parameter on TCP is the port. Okay, so the default port for a web application is either 80 or 443. Okay, 80 is for standard HTTP, 443 is for HTTPS. Okay. Yeah, so this is the protocol that we're talking about. So the protocol was very old. It was defined a long time ago in 19 or maybe 80s, late 80s. Okay. So yeah, this is HTTP protocol. This protocol is used to provide information. So if you think about the philosophical aspects of technology, why we created internet is one main benefit or one main objective is for sharing information, right? To to avoid misconceptions, to avoid misunderstanding or miscommunication. So that's why we develop a better communications. Yeah, but on the contrary, with the initial objective of the technology, today's there are lots of hoax, there are lots of many misconception, and then lots of uh, information overflow. Okay, uh, too much information coming to our device. Okay, and then not all of them are true. Many of them are just copy and paste from others, and then this becomes a problem in our society. Okay, but today we are not talking about that ethics, right? We talk about the web server. So this is how you access the web server, right? So you have a client, and then on the other side, on the edge of the internet, you have a web server. So what you are doing is you are setting up a HTTP request, and then the server will reply with HTTP response. As simple as that. Okay, next. So again, so previously we talked about HTTP. What about the more technical implementation? So this is how it looks like. Okay. Uh, so uh, so here this is the layer 2. Okay, L2. You can use Wi-Fi or Ethernet. Some are using what else? Yeah, currently I can think only Ethernet or Wi-Fi. Oh, maybe GPON. Okay, or GSM. Oh yeah, or LTE or whatever, or 5G. Yeah, so those are layer 2 technology. On top of that, you will be using IP, and then on upper layer, you have a TCP or UDP. Okay, and then you have a DNS here. Okay, and then if you want to encrypt, there will be a TLS involved, and then on top of that, that unites everything is the HTTP protocol. So HTTP protocol consists of the language itself, HTML, and then in order to format the HTML, and then you need CSS formatting. So formatting is like change the color, change the font, change the size, floating here, floating that. That's the purpose of CSS. So CSS just for formatting the elements of HTML. Yes, decorating. Thank you, Amir. And then what about the content itself? So you have a tag here, right? And then you have content, blah, 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 blah. And then you have a closing tag. So if you want to change something here, what you need is the JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript will do the content. Okay, but JavaScript is not only modifying the content, but they can do modifying the attributes as well. Okay, so in programming perspective, I can say HTML and CSS is just for displaying information, while the brain is located here in JavaScript, because this is the place where you are doing programming. Okay, and then we have a web API, so that one application can talk to the other applications. Here in Indonesia, we have a Tokopedia, but you can have your own marketplace. You can have your own system, okay, so that you can contact Tokopedia or maybe Amazon, okay, another place, and then in order to contact others, we can use web API. So all of this will considered as the web. Okay, so when we talk about web application, we talk about HTTP, TCP, DNS, UDP, HTML, CSS, so API, JavaScript. So these are technology that are involved when we talk about web. Okay, the web. Right. So let's continue. So let's talk about the flow, more detail about it. Yes, I know this is the flow. Yes, I know, understand. So perhaps we can talk about the flow more details like this. Yeah, see. So please do not be scared. Okay. So this is what happened when you type an URL in address bar. So this is, you start here. You type blah, 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 some things. And then first you are doing is the DNS. So DNS is the basic step of web application, okay? Because many applications are based on the domain name, not the IP address, okay? So you do the DNS, and then when we do these steps, so this is your browser, right? And then the browser is checking, okay, checking the cache. What is so you want to go to example.com and then check. Do I know the IP address of www.example.com? Oh, I don't know. If I don't know, and then this is what I will do. So I will do the DNS lookup and then check the root server, and then check the top level domain, second level domain, and then voila, I got this IP address. Yay! So www.example.com means this IP address. Okay, so that's great then. Yeah, so I already got the IP address, and then what next? So I will initiate the TCP connection here. You know, the three-way handshake. So you start with sync. So the client start with sync, and then the server reply with syn ACK, and then the client reply with ACK. So guys, this is not my picture. If you want to get the source, I got it from here, okay? So we have to give credit to the person who is making this colorful diagram. Yeah, makes us more understand about what's going on when you access a URL. So you have done the TCP connection, and then after that, you send an HTTP request over the internet, blah, 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 blah. And then inside the request, there is a sub request that is get HTTP blah blah blah, and then here's the version 1.1, and then yeah, this request will be served by a web server. The server responds. Okay, depends on the response. So if you see 10XX, it means that the information what we are trying to achieve is error code 200, right? If you see here 200 means everything is okay. If you have 4 something, it means that it's a client problem. If 500, okay, 5xx, it means on the server, okay, server side. 4xx usually on the, sometimes on the client, maybe in the permission or whatever, okay. And then all the content will be sent to your browser. So it consists of HTML code, CSS, and JavaScript, okay. Um, yeah, so the browser parse the HTML elements, DOM, and then render, and then you will see the page over here, okay? And then after that, all technical details done, and then what you will see is a nice web page. So that's how, so that's what happened when you type a URL, and then you will get the result. So you start from here, and then after that, this is what you expect. Okay, start and then end. Done. Boom. Okay, so after that, after you know what happened in the address bar, this is one example of multiple components of a website. Okay, um, so so this is your page. Okay, and then you have a HTML element, correct? So you have images, you have videos, ads, you have P here as a paragraph, you have H1 here for header 1. And then when your browser access, so this is your browser access this web documents. Actually, when the web page arrive, sorry, when the all codes arrive, and then your web browser will check from which component is from. So there is a possibility that all components from the one website only coming from one web server. No, it's not. Okay, there is a possibility that components in the website coming from different web server here. Okay. So this video is from YouTube, ads video from ad server, images from other server. So it's very, very common, yeah, to have a web server like this. I mean web page, sorry, web page like this. Okay, so all HTML element in one page is not only coming from one source. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, so this is what happened when you dive deeper into HTTP messages. Okay, so this is the method. Okay, so you have HTTP has method, right? You have get, you have post, okay, you have put, you have delete. Okay, so I think this is this webinar is mandatory if you want to be a web developer. Okay, yeah, because yeah, new person sometimes get confused. Yeah, what they already they already do PHP coding, but the real concept is they're still confused. Okay, so this is what happened in the HTTP messages. Okay, so you have to mention the method here, and then the version of the protocol, and then here's the header. Okay. This is when you request. Okay. Oh, sorry. So this is your request, and this is your response. Okay. So this is the response. Okay, it's HTTP this, and then here's the status. Okay, we are looking for 200. Okay, if 200, oh, we are very happy. And then here's the message, and then here's the header. Okay. So request, response, request, and then response. So yeah, that's how it works for the web server. All right. So let's continue. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is how, when we deep dive the GET, the HTTP request, this is what you see. You can see it here with the protocol analyzer like Wireshark, okay, right. Next is about the static and dynamic website. So first is the static website. So static website consists of only static web page, okay, which consists of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's it, okay. While dynamic, or there's what you see is only these three, okay. But in order to generate HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, there will be a pre-processing steps before they are generating the HTML. So HTML code, JavaScript code, and CSS code is generated using this application server. And then this application server usually get the data from the database. All right. Will this webinar be uploaded to the YouTube? Yes. And then, well, I'm a vlogger now. So please, what is it? Please like, share, and subscribe, and then also put the click the notification bell. So I'm trying to be a YouTuber now. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the web server. So as I said, this is a building block of a web server. Okay. So on the left-hand side, this is just for static. Okay, static pages. Okay, static pages. Static pages. Yeah. So this is your web client. The browser send HTTP request. See, and then the server responds. Okay. So that's what happened. So that's what happened. That's what you see from the web client point of view. So you send requests and then you get the response. Done. But from the web server, it checks. Okay. So you are asking index.html. Oh, okay. So do I have the index.html here? Oh, okay. So index.html is here. Oh, right. So, okay. So I get this index.html and then I get the files and then send back to the client, as simple as that. Okay, so next is you are looking for login.php. Okay, so login.php actually is not static. Okay, so those codes on login.php is generated by PHP code. Okay, so that's why when you access the web server will access the application server here. So you send requests to application server, and then inside they have containers like, a container for web server PHP 7, a container for PHP 5, PHP, now it's PHP 8, right? And then other servers, you have a Python or whatever. And then the application server will talk to the data source. In this case is the database, okay? Because most of the content are in database. Okay, so they get the data from the database and then send the the response back and then reply it to the client. So that's how it works. Okay, so previously you see the static and dynamic, okay? And then this slide explains the difference, okay? So static is very simple. Okay, only give you a static, what is it? Static way, or just static files in order to give you uh, the response. Okay, so you only request a static files, and then here's the static file. So that's why static websites is very fast. Okay, because they don't have more processing here. So when you access web server, there will be a further processing which requires CPU, okay, RAM, okay, IO, okay. IO, when we talk about IO, can be a storage, in this case, disk, okay, or can be networking, right? Or other IO, okay. I have Docker, yes, Docker, we can use Docker. Can you give name for dynamic website? What do you mean? Well, dynamic website, if you build a website using WordPress, that's dynamic, okay? Because WordPress is based on PHP, okay? And then that PHP will connect to the database, in this case, MySQL. Unfortunately, up to now, WordPress only support MySQL, yeah. Yeah, that's not good. So I'm a fan of PostgreSQL, but because of the WordPress, I have to use MySQL because WordPress only supports MySQL. Yeah, what a shame. Okay. Oh, next, what is CMS? Okay, CMS is content management system. So it's an application. Uh, application, web-based application where you can update the content dynamically. So those contents will be stored in the database. Okay, so here. So if you go to WordPress, that's one example of CMS. Okay, you can build your own. Yes, of course, yes. But yeah, you can use the things that ready-made out there. Yeah, CMS, for example, is like Magenta, WordPress, Laravel, Drupal. Yeah. Next, yeah. So let's talk about. So previously, you know the content, and you know the building blocks, how it works. What's difference between when we have a server to serve static files compared to the dynamic pages. And then let's talk about the implementation, more technical. Okay, so we talk about the software to build the web and application server. So again, you need two servers. So first is the web server, and second is the application server. And then usually, most likely, if you are using dynamic website, those informations will be stored in the database. Okay, an example of web server are here. Okay, Apache, Nginx, LightDPD, Cherokee, whatever. There are lots of them. A long time ago, when I was studying in the university, I used Sitami because I didn't know Linux much. So I used Sitami web server, and then I ran my own web server, and then got hacked because I was running it on Windows, I think Windows 98 or Windows XP, I forgot. So yeah, it's a long time ago. Okay, so after that I know, oh, Linux. Oh, okay, let's use Linux then. Kick out the Windows. Usually we bundle the components to have a pattern like this: L, W, D, A. Okay, so L stands for Linux, W is the web server. You can change the name later on. D is for the database. Okay. A is for application engine. So for example, this is very famous, LAMP. Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, or LNMP, Linux, Nginx, Nginx, okay. So it's called Nginx, okay, not Gings. And then you use MySQL and PHP, okay. But I personally use Apache. I use Nginx as well, but yeah, Apache is there are so many for example applications that supports Apache. For example, Apache supports .htdocs, right? Which not supported by Nginx. Okay, so with Nginx you have to create your own rewrite rules for that, and then that's not a task to do. Okay, so I would prefer to use Apache. Yeah, so I prefer Apache because in some applications, for example, WordPress, some plugins they already provide the htdoc, which if I use Apache, it will be read by Apache server, and then Apache will do the job. Okay. Yeah, sometimes people say Apache is slower. Apache uses more memory, but I don't think so. Depends on the Apache that you are using. Okay, so Apache has 3 modes: pre-fork, and then worker, and then you have event. Okay, so pre-fork is process-based, worker and event is thread-based. So it looks like MySQL. So MySQL is thread-based. Right. Yeah. So thread means it's a sub-process. So you have a big process on top as a parent, and then inside the process, there will be a thread. If you understand Linux, hopefully you can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, thank you for the group chat here, for sharing the information. Really, really useful. Yeah, again, thank you for that. Yeah, so it's up to you which bundled component you are using. Okay, so yeah, so sometimes I use, but usually I start with Linux, and then after that Apache, and then PostgreSQL, and then P. P can be PHP or Python. Okay, so it's not always PHP. No. Next is we can talk about the maintenance. So after you install the web server, the bundled here, there are lots of I mean, installing the web server or bundled web server is not that hard. Okay, even if you are using Ubuntu or Apache or Debian, they already have there are lots of tutorial out there. But the thing is, you need to understand what you are doing. Okay, if you don't understand, okay, then study. If you are having difficulties of studying alone, okay, you can contact us for having a training for to build a web server or Linux. Okay, so because uh, when you start to manage a Linux-based application, you need to understand the basic principle of Linux. You need to understand what the process is. You need to understand, yeah, the concept of permission, the concept of like partitions. Okay, there are many checklists you need to know if you are using uh, a Linux as a foundation for your web server. Okay. You need to know things like text processing, like using Vim, using Tail. Okay, that kind of stuff. Okay. So let's say you already installed the web server. There are many tutorials out there, But please make sure you understand the tutorial, okay? Not just copy and paste the commands, okay? So after you install, and then you do the maintenance. So what are the maintenance? First is monitoring. Okay, monitoring. Yeah, monitoring is important part. What do you need to monitor? First is the resource. Okay, so this is important. The CPU usage, the RAM, see, and then I/O. Okay. Sometimes this is easily, okay, this too is easily seen because, oh, okay, oh, this is CPU is 80%, RAM is for example, you have 8 gigabit RAM. Oh, so we already use 7 giga. Oh, okay. So it's almost finished then. But here is not always can be seen. Okay. But sometimes your application is very, very slow. And then that can be caused by this I/O. I/O means input output. We can talk about, and then it can be related to storage or networking. Okay, I got one comment here on group chat. I use Proxmox to IP public. Okay, 20 web server with different domain. Yes, that's possible. So we call it hosting. Okay, so there is a feature. Yeah, perhaps I need to discuss about that feature here. Yeah, so it's called. Yeah, it's called. Yeah, here it's called virtual host. Virtual host. Okay, so with virtual host, you have one. Sorry, this is IP. This is public IP address. Okay, so you only have one IP address. Okay, so from the layer 3 point of view, you are using one IP address. But on layer 3, you have you can host different domain. So that feature is called virtual host. Okay, so with one public IP address, you can host more than uh, one domain. So that's what the hosting provider do. Yes, yes. So hopefully that answered the questions. Muhammad Sefrian Nur Hamza. Okay. I prefer Nano. Okay. I prefer Vim. Why? Because I'm based from the I start my career from Unix, okay, not Linux. So I use Solaris a lot, and then in Solaris there is no Nano. Okay, we use Vim. And then if you see many Unix system, you go FreeBSD, OpenBSD, Linux, of course, you will see Vim, okay, or VI. Okay. For example, HPUX, IBM iX, okay, many Unix system, they always provide Vim. Okay, so the question is quite misleading. One web server with 20 virtual hosts. Yes, that's correct. A Linux server usually doesn't have GUI, so gedit is not possible. Yes, or you can use, we can call it X server, okay, so that you can display a GUI based an application in your laptop. So it's possible. So the processing is on the server that you are using, but the display is on your laptop. That's possible. Next, could you please explain general different Unix and Unix like? Well, it's another topic. Yeah, so I will. Yeah, thank you for the comments here. Thank you for the questions. I will consider that make it a new topic for the next webinar. Okay, so that was it. Yeah, that was about the virtual host. Okay, back to the maintenance. So first monitoring, okay, so CPU, RAM, IO. So sometimes website is very slow because the hard disk is spinning very fast. Okay, there is a process that is doing the hard disk a lot. So I got this problem several times. Okay, either because of somebody attack you because they're sending a request that that do the database query a lot. Yeah, it's possible. Yes, or they are doing a DDoS attack. Okay, that can make your application slow. For example, if you are running, if you are a campus, university, usually in the beginning of the semester where people doing registration, the application slow, correct, right? Yeah, yeah, you need to be careful about that. So please do monitoring and then do log analysis. See, so for those who are new to Linux, log analysis is one skill that you must have. Okay, so checking the log files. Okay, grab or this filter using regex. Okay, regular expressions. Yeah, anything with the log analysis. And then you need to know about regular monitoring. So you need to have a team that always constantly checking the web application, the server. Okay. For tools for monitoring, you can use Cacti. Okay, Cacti. Here I use Zabbix. Others is like Observium and other stuff. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I use Zabbix because we are also monitoring the application, right? And then like the MySQL and then Apache. Yeah. So Zabbix has that modules. While Cacti is based on the SNMP, where with SNMP, yeah, it's very limited. If you're just checking the routers, it's okay. But here we're not talking about the router. We're not talking about the, oh, okay, so this interface is 10 Mbps now. And then this interface is 5 Mbps now. The CPU is 80%, CPU is 10%. Yeah, those things can be monitored via SNMP. But what we want to manage, what we want to check is more than that. So we use other platform. After monitoring, sometimes you also need maintenance, like upgrading. Okay, see, upgrading the OS, upgrading the 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 Ubuntu, upgrading the CentOS. Yeah, so upgrading. Okay, or patch. Okay. Sometimes you need to deal with the broken disk or components. One hard disk is failure. Okay, it's possible. Yeah, so that's why you need to because it's broken, and then there will be a replacement. So you need to have a spare components. Okay, we don't have to wait long, and then perhaps you are maybe you can consider to use RAID. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have. There are lots of chat here. um, a good tool for monitoring web server. Zabbix. Yeah. Okay. Splunk. I don't know. I don't use Splunk. Free monitoring tool for open source. Yeah. Yeah. Zabbix is free. Cacti is free. Greylog. Maybe. Yeah. Better if you also have a log server here. Maybe I can put the log server. Why? So log server is a dedicated server just for receiving log. Okay. So you have a server here, server. Even not only server, also the router. Okay. So the router will send log to here. send log to here, send log to here, log, 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 log. And then the log can be stored. You can configure stored in the database. Okay, so database. Okay, so all logs that is sent from other server will be stored in the database. So that's why it's easier to retrieve the data. I mean, if you already have a database, I mean, it's easier for you, right, to check the log. You can write some script with PHP where you can do, yeah, many things on it. Okay, so it's a log server. Why we need log server? Because if this one down, we still have the log. Okay, because log is stored in different place. Also for security, right? So if the server here is compromised, the attacker changed something. Okay, check. Sometimes deleting the log here, yeah. Delete log. Okay, so the attacker delete the log on the server, but the log itself already saved in different place. So I think from the security point of view, it's better. Is there any tool to check shell backdoor on the web server? Well, what kind of backdoor? If the backdoor means a port that is opened by an applications, well, you can check the Linux. You need to have a Linux skill for that to check the open ports. But for PHP, I don't think so. Usually what the attacker do is they change the file. And then you know that PHP can have, it's possible to do a shell execution, yeah, because in PHP you have that there is a possibility to execute a command. Yeah, it's possible. After we had hack, which we need to check, better if you check the log, yeah. Okay, so traffic utilization security, okay, MyCacti. Oh, that one is, well, it's very specific on your device. I don't know. So be careful with cacti because sometimes cacti has several holes. It's not always retrieve the data. Okay, sometimes there is a hole. So you can see this is a cacti. You have a graph like this, okay, but it's missing something, okay. So blah blah blah, and then it's missing some data. So that's what's happened. Probably, perhaps because of the high I/O or something. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah. Other things. One benefit of having monitoring system is, oh yeah, I need to put here. Sometimes when I do presentations, those idea comes to my mind. You can, if you have a monitoring, you can use you can see pattern, okay? Pattern analysis. So for example, the pattern is like this, okay? Here and then here. And then the peak is, for example, 10 o'clock. And then the lowest is on, for example, 18 o'clock, okay? But, so you know the pattern, okay? You know the pattern. So sometimes the 18 o'clock, it goes like this. So yeah, you might be wondering, oh, okay, something is not right here because it's unusual, okay? It's not always something bad, but something is unusual here. Usually at 18 o'clock, traffic is very low, but here traffic is higher, okay? So you need to figure out something happened in, in, in this period, all right? Um, what else? How do I command delete? Well, you can use delete. It's a simple files. Okay. Right. So that's the web server maintenance. Next is Yeah, perhaps you can, yeah, I think we have discussed this before, right? Redundant array of independent list. Oh, next is optimization, right? So after you have a good maintenance, and then probably you will have optimization. So you want to tune up the configurations of your server so that it can give you more benefits. So sometimes, um, yeah, so these are the some areas. Okay, so in order to tune your application, you need to understand the aspects of the web server. Okay, so here, okay, you want to tune. Okay, that's great. Yeah, you need to understand how Linux works, how Apache works, how MySQL works, how PHP works. Oh, there are lots of things. Yes, of course. And also you have to tune your applications. Sometimes the application is slow because of the database, because you have forgot to use an index. So, oh, you need to understand the indexing, right? So you write a query and then the query takes 10 seconds to complete. Oh, okay, what's going on? It happens. Yeah, sometimes people forgot to use indexing on their applications. So again, so if you want, if we talk about tunes, we need to talk about deeper understanding of each web server components. Okay. Yeah. So perhaps these are some ideas about how to optimize your web and application server. Use tiered architecture, so not everything in one basket. Okay, so use thread-based software, so it's really save the resource, especially for the RAM. Okay, thread-based is like Apache Thread or Nginx. Okay, so Apache with the worker or events, that one is thread-based. Also, as I mentioned earlier, storage I/O. Okay, so when we talk about I/O means, yeah, I/O means input and output. So it means that the data coming inbound and outbound. Okay, so where the data flows to which device. Sometimes I/O goes to the storage or to networking. Okay, so that can be a place of the bottleneck. So for storage, faster hard disk, separate the database and then the application disk. So I don't think it's a good idea to put everything in one hard disk. Okay, so you have several hard disks in your server, and then one particular hard disk for database, one particular hard disk for application. Networking I/O, make sure you have enough bandwidth. And then here, I think this is very useful. Using cache. This is on applications. Okay, application side. So Redis is very useful, or Memcache. Okay, this is what we had in our university. Okay, so we had so this is from Moodle. Okay, look guys, Moodle is actually is not that that heavy. Okay, for login that's okay. Okay, but the thing that makes Moodle uh, is heavy is on when you do a quiz. Okay, quiz. Okay, model quiz is really bogs you down. To be honest, okay. So here, because when you do quiz is time activity. So you have, you should start from here, you stop from here. So during the time, okay, so everyone will log in and then do the calculation. Okay, they will do a quiz, everything at the same time. And then here we do 500. Okay, so actually this is 500 something. Okay, so I took a screenshot here because when they try to log in, the number of attempts is increasing. Okay, yeah, so this is a one batch of examination. So everyone go open the quiz, and then yeah, 500, around 500 students take the exam. Okay, so this is very, very, very hard, man. So we optimize, and then everything's okay. Yeah. So with our Moodle, we use PostgreSQL, and then we separate the database from the uh, separate database from the web server. Okay. So SSD, yes, SSD. Yeah, if you use SSD, that's better. Okay. So that was the optimization part. Next is, oh, okay, this is one example of three-tier architecture. So tier one is here. Okay, so located on the client side. So here, what you can do is you are playing with the JavaScript, and then you have business logic here, or middleware, consists of web server and application server. Okay, so for example, PHP, or if you use Django, yeah, it's Python. Okay, so here's the second tier, and then is the data tier. Okay, it's for database. Okay, you can either use MySQL or Postgres. Most of our application are based on Postgres. I really love Postgres, man. Yeah, so sometimes three tiers like Apache. So this is tier one, and then next tier is PHP. Next tier is database. So this is one one server. This can, you can separate Apache and web server. Yes. So Apache is one server, PHP is one server. Yes, it's possible. You can use FPM, right? FPM, okay, and which is running on a certain port. Okay. So Apache will contact the FPM, FPM will contact the database, database will send back the results and then send it back to the Apache. All right. So that's example of three-tiered architecture. So please do not, so the summary of the architecture is not put everything in one basket. Oh, okay. So I think here's the last part, web security. Actually, this is a broad topics, okay? Broad topics, a lot of things are covered. Well, first about security, mainly is from application side. Okay, many flaws are from application code. Okay, not from Apache. Okay, so it's very hard to hack Apache nowadays. Okay, okay, I have an Apache and then just only contain hello words. Okay, hack that. Uh, uh, it's hard. Okay, Apache itself is already developed for many years, and then yeah, the code is been reviewed by many programmers. It's been stable for a long time. I don't think you can hack the Apache. Yeah, with that only static, that Apache that only provides static files. Okay, except if the Apache also runs PHP. Okay, and that PHP application has some flaws. Okay, especially with the input sanitation. So this is the programmer part. Okay, so this is dev part. Okay, so input sanitation. So for example, username and login. Okay, username, password. This is login. Okay, login page, and then you put here username and then password. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys using the Moodle. Moodle is good. We always use the stable version, and then we use Git to keep updating the Moodle. I don't know how many of you using Moodle? Not so many. Oh, use Moodle. Okay. I just want to know. I just curious. How many students on your quiz maximum? Uh, uh, yes, big blue button is for like is a replacement for like a Zoom here.
Oh,
But yeah, we also we try big blue button as well. But the things that I don't like with big blue button is the consumption resource consumption, especially for the bandwidth. Okay, because it doesn't use the good compression. So that's why yeah the networking bandwidth is wasted. Okay, so yeah, I got. Oh, okay. So you use Moodle, and then last time 200. Oh, 200 user. Yeah, yes, that's good. Okay. Yeah, usually, if you have Moodle and then you use Moodle just for sharing a files, yeah, that not really. I don't think it's really effective using Moodle. Because if you just want to share materials, you can just write the WordPress.com or share a Google Docs, right? And then put the materials there, share the URL, done. But for us, the good benefit for Moodle is for assessment. Okay, for yeah, doing a quiz, do a forum, do the like a workshop. Okay, so we use Moodle a lot for assessment activity, not for sharing files. No, no, no. So that's the I mean compared to others like at Modo, for example, we prefer to use Moodle, okay, because the feature is more advanced compared to others. Right. Okay. Oh, okay. Moodle with AWS. Oh, okay. Yeah, as long as you pay. So actually, there is no cloud, right? It's just somebody else's computer and then you pay for that. Yeah. So that's the meaning of cloud. It's somebody else's computer and then you pay for that. Non-tech, is it for nowadays building web server in Soho scale instead of hosting it? So I don't understand here. Well, if the application is for your own company, you can host it in the hosting server. Yeah, no problem. If you don't like the hosting server, you're afraid that your data will be looked by the admin. Yeah, of course. All the data can be copied by admin. Yeah, and then you host your own server. Yeah, if you don't believe other people, yeah, that's one option that you can do. Okay, next. Oh, it's done. Oh, it's already 2046 now. Well, yeah, I don't think we can do a practice here. But again, this is just hopefully this webinar can be used as to open a perspective of how a web server works. Okay, especially a web server that provides what is it? Provides um, static and then dynamic website. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? I think we already have our own QA during the presentations. And then if you are interested, please come to our training. Yeah, we share training. Sorry, we do training for those who are need to have a deeper understanding about the topic, because with 1 hour, yeah, not much you can do, right? With 1 hour, like 1 hour webinar here. So if you're interested, and then please come to our training. Yes, so this is end of the slides. Again, submit your feedback if you don't mind. Okay, you can talk to us about you can inform us the topics that will be discussed in the future. We have our own Facebook page, and then the slides also recording. Okay, so you can just Google our channel in YouTube, GLC Networks, and then just find it. Right, thank you very much. Anything else, admin?
Yes, please. Don't leave this first.
Okay.
Can you, maybe we can take documentation, some
Oh,
documentation.
photo session. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can stop sharing screen first.
Oh yeah,
Then
right.
yeah.
Okay, so I have stopped
Holiday mode,
the
please.
sharing, and then let's open your webcam. Great.
Yeah. Don't be shy,
All
please.
right.
Your holiday face.
Yeah. Everyone is happy because today is holiday in Indonesia.
Yeah. Two thumbs up. Two thumbs up.
Okay, thumbs up. 1, 2, 3. Page number 1. Great. Next one. Oh, we have 4 pages here. Wow. How many
Yeah.
participants? Oh,
Cool.
80. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thumbs up, man. Okay, the last page. Right,
Thank
done.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, admin?
Okay. Yes, guys, thank you so much for your interest and participation for our webinar today. Yeah, and your spirit during webinar, keep active sharing information, asking questions, sharing your thoughts, and keep stay still in the end of the season. That's, we call it spirit of study. So next week, just coming and then make a noise, yeah? So remember, engine, not
Engine
Jin.
X, yeah. Engine X.
Engine X.
It's called
Okay.
Engine
So,
X.
yes, by the end of the day, whether you decide join training with us or choose another training platform, it's okay. The most important is never stop learning. Okay, so we
Okay.
hope this webinar will give you
Yeah.
good benefit, and then keep positive. So guys, thank you so much. See you next
Thanks,
week.
though I'll join later. I'll join you
Yeah, no problem.
on time next time.
Yeah,
Sure,
please
no
come
worries.
on time. And then ask so many questions, okay?
I'll do next time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks
Okay,
a lot.
guys.
You guys are from what country?
We are here from Indonesia. And
okay.
yeah, I think it's time to say goodbye for everyone. And
Okay,
have a nice day. And
thanks
keep
a lot.
safe.
I'm the only one in Botswana.
Oh, Botswana,
Oh,
right. Oh, okay, what time is it in Botswana?
15:51, yeah.
Oh, okay. Still afternoon.
And you guys? Evening.
So here is almost 9 o'clock
Time to
at
sleep
night.
right now.
Oh, good night. Good night. Thanks a lot.
I'm from Bekasi, different country.
Hey, Bekasi!
Maybe different planets. Near Piccolo planet.
Oh, Mr. Bill Gates.
One world. One world.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
Cool.
thank you so much, guys.
Okay, guys.
Don't forget
Thank you
to
so
fill up
much.
the feedback, please.
Yeah. Please submit your feedback. Okay. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
And
Thank you,
bye.
Pak Ahmad. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
Asep.